Fastest way to shrink visceral fat, backed by science. It's a common frustration to lose a significant amount of weight, only to find that stubborn belly fat remains. This is often due to visceral fat, a type of fat that doesn't just sit beneath the skin, but is also packed tightly around vital internal organs like your stomach, liver, and pancreas. This internal fat is a major driver of many chronic health conditions that affect us today, contributing to issues such as diabetes, fatty liver disease, heart disease, and even certain cancers. The encouraging news is that while visceral fat is indeed dangerous, it's also the most responsive to targeted strategies. This information will guide you on the most effective methods to specifically target and rapidly reduce visceral fat. To combat visceral fat, the foods and drinks you consume play a crucial role. What you eat daily can either fuel this stubborn fat or starve it. Among the most potent allies against visceral fat are foods rich in carotenoids. These are natural pigments found in plants, responsible for the vibrant colors in carrots, tomatoes, and spinach. Beyond their color, carotenoids are powerful antioxidants. In the context of visceral fat, this is vital because an excess of energy often leads to inflammation and metabolic disruption, which is a primary cause of visceral fat accumulation. Carotenoids help counteract this by neutralizing free radicals, unstable molecules that can damage cells. By clearing these free radicals, carotenoids aid in stabilizing your genes, and remarkably, they can even activate genes that promote fat burning, while suppressing those that encourage fat storage. A notable study conducted in Japan, a randomized double-blind trial, investigated the impact of carotenoid intake on visceral fat. The findings revealed that after just 8 weeks of consuming carotenoid-rich vegetables, participants experienced a reduction in visceral fat. This effect was particularly pronounced in groups consuming higher levels of lycopene and lower levels of lutein, as demonstrated with ingredients like carrots and cabbage in that specific study. However, it's important to highlight that all groups that incorporated carotenoid-rich vegetables into their diet saw a decrease in visceral fat. To easily incorporate these beneficial compounds into your diet, focus on a variety of colorful vegetables and fruits. Think of carrots, sweet potatoes, bell peppers, spinach, and squash. Virtually any colorful produce item is likely to be a good source of carotenoids and will contribute to your efforts to lose visceral fat. Beyond carotenoids, another significant compound to consider is called ketones. These are a type of flavonoid polyphenol that also possess antioxidant properties and help reduce inflammation. A highly accessible and enjoyable way to obtain ketones is by drinking green tea. The widely heard claim that green tea burns fat is indeed true, and it's largely due to its high ketones content. These compounds fundamentally alter how your body processes fat, especially visceral fat. Ketones contribute to fat regulation in numerous ways. Firstly, they boost fat oxidation and energy expenditure, essentially prompting your nervous system to burn more fat and accelerating your overall metabolism. Furthermore, ketones inhibit enzymes involved in fat processing, such as lipase, thereby reducing the absorption of dietary fat. The power of green tea is further amplified by its caffeine content, which can work in tandem with ketones to enhance the body's utilization of fat for energy. A double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized trial conducted in Japan demonstrated that consuming ketones-rich green tea, approximately 600 milligrams of ketones daily for 12 weeks, led to a significant reduction in visceral fat. It's worth noting that most green teas are naturally rich in ketones. For maximum benefit, it's advisable to opt for minimally processed green teas like matcha or sencha. While any approach that creates an energy deficit or calorie deficit will contribute to overall weight loss and visceral fat reduction, focusing on these specific foods and drinks can significantly accelerate your progress. Once your dietary habits are optimized, implementing the right exercise regimen becomes a powerful multiplier. In fact, the correct type of exercise is essential for rapidly shedding visceral fat. Research, including a meta-analysis of 117 studies, indicates that while both diet and exercise are effective in reducing visceral fat, diet has a more pronounced impact on total body weight loss, whereas exercise tends to yield superior results in targeting visceral fat specifically. An older but highly informative study highlighted the potent effects of even moderate exercise. In this research, participants who engaged in just 2 45-minute cycling sessions per week at 75% of their peak for a period of 2 months experienced an impressive 48% reduction in visceral fat, nearly half in just 2 months. Furthermore, this group also saw a 41% improvement in insulin sensitivity and an 18% loss of subcutaneous fat. It's important to note that this was not considered strenuous exercise. The intensity was measured using peak rather than max, suggesting that for the average participant, this likely fell within a low to moderate intensity zone, characterized by being able to hold a conversation while feeling slightly winded. Remarkably, in this study, participants' total body weight remained largely unchanged, showcasing significant improvements in visceral fat and insulin sensitivity without substantial shifts on the scale. This underscores a crucial point. Don't become discouraged if the number on the scale doesn't immediately reflect your progress, even when adhering to healthy nutrition and exercise. The scale often fails to capture crucial changes in body composition and fat loss. When seeking the most effective exercise for rapid visceral fat reduction, a recent systematic review and meta-analysis examining 84 randomized controlled trials identified vigorous intensity aerobic exercise and high-intensity interval training, HIIT, as the most effective modalities. While resistance training is beneficial for maintaining muscle mass and overall health, it appears less impactful for direct visceral fat reduction. Therefore, if rapid visceral fat loss is your primary goal, increasing your cardiovascular exercise is likely the best strategy. Comparing HIIT and aerobic exercise, the effectiveness is quite similar, with studies showing no statistically significant differences between the two in adults. Some research may suggest a slight edge for HIIT, particularly running over cycling, or that HIIT might be more effective for younger individuals. However, at this level, the distinctions are minor. Ultimately, the most effective exercise is the one you can consistently stick with. A perfectly designed HIIT program that you only manage to do sporadically will always be less effective than a more enjoyable activity you engage in regularly. An ideal routine would involve exercising at least 2 to 3 times per week for approximately 45 minutes each session. The intensity should be at least moderate to vigorous, meaning your heart rate should reach about 70 to 80% of your maximum capacity. If you prefer not to track your heart rate, a simple talk test can be used. Moderate intensity allows you to speak in full sentences but feel slightly out of breath, while vigorous intensity limits you to speaking only a few words at a time. The benefits of exercise are dose-dependent. The more you engage, the greater the results. A study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that individuals who exercised more frequently and at higher intensities experienced proportionally greater reductions in visceral fat, a response not seen with caloric restriction beyond a certain point. This means you don't need to starve yourself to lose belly fat. In fact, maintaining adequate calorie intake while gradually increasing your exercise levels can lead to faster visceral fat loss.